Today I'm going to give an update at the QV Investor Summit. We had our 10Q announced yesterday for the period ending 30th of June. So I have a safe harbor slide and a quick Lightwave logic overview. We are a technology platform that is designed to help scale the existing internet structure. And so what we do is that we make technology that will make the internet faster, and our technology actually saves customers a lot of power, so it's a lower power consumption. We're targeting transmission of higher speeds and less power, and which is essential for the data communications and the telecommunications markets. And these are the markets that make up the internet. And we do this by leveraging our own proprietary electro-optic polymers. We design these polymers ourselves. We fabricate them in our facility in Denver, Colorado, and we make photonic devices. And these devices convert data from electrical signals into optical signals. We have technology evaluation underway, and we have in-house control of material supply, device fabrication, and package design. You can see our company headquarters in the bottom right-hand corner of this slide. That's based in Englewood, just after the tech center in Denver. We have a strong balance sheet, as you can see from the right-hand side of this slide. Share price is running close to $7. You can see our market cap and our cash levels. The footnote number 1 is from the 10Q that was announced yesterday on the 16th of August. There's a number of other financial details in the 10Q. And so you can see we have a pretty strong balance sheet, and we have a very strong IP and patent position. I'll get into that a little bit more in this presentation. So the overall from this slide is that we're a strong company financially, and we've got some great technology that will enable faster speed of the internet with lower power consumption, which is exactly what customers are looking for today. And so a quick slide on the existing internet infrastructure. We know that infrastructure is stretched. In fact, all of us in the last 18 months to 2 years dealing with the pandemic and working from home, sometimes we've had to turn our cameras off because we just don't get the data rates coming to our home or our office or wherever we are working remotely. And so this internet infrastructure needs faster data. It needs to do it at much lower power consumption too, because the places that do all the data operations like data centers and telecommunication centers, as we know, they're consuming tons of power. And so what's needed is radical innovation. And radical innovation will help the internet to keep growing. And one way of doing that is to have a faster optical device that consumes less power. And so if we look at the photonics market, we can see at the bottom bullet point on the lower left-hand side of this graph, photonics components market has large markets. We can also see from the graph on the right-hand side that the traffic, the IP, the internet protocol traffic, that's the traffic that goes through the internet, is growing at a phenomenal rate. And so with the increase in traffic, and we know this because we're using video platforms at home and where we are working remotely, we know that the network capacity is falling behind this traffic growth. And we know there is an exponential rise in consumer level data usage, just indicated that from the pandemic. And so in order to address these issues, you need some radical innovation. You need some technologies that will enable the data to go faster. And also you need technologies to have the data consume less power. And the network cost and energy consumption, you can talk to any of the folks in the data center, the data communications environment. Network costs and energy consumption are hotspots for these data providers. They've got to figure out ways to get the power consumption down. And so as you can see from the takeaway at the bottom of this slide, polymers can transform the internet with much better performance. And that better performance is higher speed and lower power. So this really is a transformation technology. And this transformation technology is ours. We have our own proprietary electro-optic polymer technology. Now, we are a small company and we've started with fiber communications, but we do know our technology can be extended to many more applications. We can see those applications in the lower right-hand corner of the slide where it says future applications. We call them non-com applications. And these are areas, these are markets such as LiDAR automotive, sensing, displays, high-speed computational processing, crypto, medical, and areas where light in general needs to be switched very, very quickly. And we need to do that at very low power consumption. And we have a technology which we believe is transformational in being able to do this. As you can see from the bottom left-hand side of this slide, the current applications are in terms of the speeds we can generate from our super fast optical devices, which we call modulators. And they convert electrical data into light that travels over the existing fiber optic networks, which are plumbed not only through the country, but under the sea as well. So the fiber optic networks go worldwide. So what about competitive advantages? Well, our technology suite addresses these major pain points facing network operators. So what are these pain points? Well, energy savings is a huge one. How to reduce the energy costs? I mean, you've got to be able to design technology that will actually help that. You've got to be able, as I've already indicated in this center box here, to be able to provide faster networks. To enable faster networks, you've got to be able to have optical devices that can switch light much faster. And then the engineering advantage of being able to do this, you have to have a flexible technology platform. And we can do that using our electro-optic polymers to design them into devices and put them into packages, and now allow the flexibility to adapt performance to address the energy savings in the faster networks. And so we are targeting large and growing markets. Now, this slide really focuses on the companies that are involved in putting together the network infrastructure. As I've already indicated, there are companies here that are outside the space, including automotive and displays. But let's just focus on this for a second. As an optical component supplier, we can sell into the value chain not only the component suppliers, the high-speed optics manufacturers, as well as the network equipment manufacturers. The mindshare clearly is being made up by the internet service providers. These are the big guys that do the architecture of the internet and the network. And so we have a potential with our technology platform to transform these at least three levels of the value chain with direct sales. And as you can see, this is pretty powerful. So the next slide is a little bit about our intellectual property portfolio. We've really focused on our transforming technology or electro-optic polymers to put lots of IP in place. And you have to do that when you have a technology that can really enable higher speed optical devices working much lower power. And so the internet providers realize this is going to be a huge opportunity. And so in order to do a really good job here, we want to have freedom of manufacturing. What does freedom of manufacturing mean? It means that we protected our technology with patents, not only on the materials that we design in terms of the chromophores and the polymers, but the fabrication techniques to make them in silicon fabs and silicon foundries, as well as the device designs. And as you can see from the center part of this slide, in the modulator types of designs. We've also boosted our patent portfolio by acquiring patents from previous competitive technology players that are also in the electro-optic polymer space. And so we feel that, putting together a really strong patent portfolio is going to be key for us as we move forward with our business model. And in fact, our business model is shown on the next slide. You can see from this slide, we have really a multi-pronged business model. Now, clearly, because we have electro-optic polymers that will transform higher speed solutions, lower power solutions for the internet, we can sell the components. Components are the modulators. but also with a really strong patent portfolio, we can license the technology, and we can also transfer the technology to foundries and places that really buy into our technology solution. And so as you can see from the sample customer engagement process, this model needs to be flexible. And the model has to be flexible because some of the customers are vertically integrated. So they not only do the chips, they do the packaging, they do design of modules, they do the system design, and some of the customers even do architecture. And so some of these customers may not just want components. They may want to have their technology themselves. They want to license it, fabricate that in the foundries or contract manufacturers or OEMs. And so we as a company need to have a business model that is flexible, multi-pronged and flexible. And so we are in the mode of commercializing our technology. And our focus right now is on establishing deeper commercial agreements with our enabling technology platform. And what I've shown in this slide is 4 major areas here. Clearly, we're focusing on huge markets and data demand. So depending on which market forecast you look at, we're looking at multi-billion-dollar markets and opportunities. And we are prototyping our polymers with silicon photonics, and we are partnering with silicon photonics foundries. And we need to do that so that we can get mass commercialization scale quickly and efficiently. We have deeper customer engagement and partnering. As you can see here, I've shown you some sample NDAs and documents. And of course, we just talked about our growing patent portfolio. That's extremely important in this type of environment. And so our business plans are advancing our deeper commercial engagements. And so where are we in terms of our progress to commercialization? So I've highlighted in green the route traveled in this TRL, a technology readiness level scale, which is used by a number of companies and governments around the world. And we are in the TR5 to TRL7 stage, which is prototyping and piloting. And clearly we are positioning ourselves for mass manufacturing. And as you can see, I've already mentioned partnering with huge foundries, and I've got a slide to talk about that in a second. As you can see from this slide, the takeaway is we are progressing on the TRL scale. We're currently in the prototyping phase. And so looking at the technology roadmap, there's a couple of things that come out of this colorful chart. One, it shows you some of the technologies we're working on, what is present, what is planned, what our focus points are. But the real takeaway from this slide in terms of the technology roadmap is, what is your uniqueness? How are you unique in the marketplace? Well, you can see from the left-hand side at the top horizontal bar, we have unique chemistry. And with that, we can design unique materials. We have unique chip design. So we use the chemistry and put that into electro-optic polymers into novel electro-optic modulator devices. Those devices work at least 2x to 3x faster than existing devices that are used in the internet today. So we have unique high-speed performance and packaging that goes with that. And then, of course, if you can apply your technology to an integrated photonics platform, such as silicon photonics or integrated indium phosphide photonics, then you're unique there too. And so our technology roadmap really emphasizes our unique value to the industry. And that's really important as you progress through your technology roadmap. And in terms of the business roadmap, we're driving forward with our high-speed, low-power polymer platform for the industry. You can see we've been focusing on polymer performance, reliability, robustness, and now we're sort of engaged in customer interaction, testing, evaluation, partnering with silicon foundries that want to do silicon photonics, but use our technology to speed up silicon photonics. And then working into customer qualification, design verification, and extending those partnerships. As you can see from the takeaway at the bottom of this slide, current engagement includes foundry partnering. And we talked about that in our annual shareholder presentation in late May. And I also did that recently in June at another investor conference. And that's an important aspect of our business roadmap as it moves forward. And so one of the questions that comes up is that, yeah, you're on the OTC stock exchange. Well, actually, this year we successfully uplisted to the QX on the OTC. That improved our trading volume, improved our exposure. We have a lot more investor conference invites. You're seeing us a lot more now in these types of forums. And of course, the question that's always asked is when are you going to uplist to the Nasdaq? And you can see what I've shown on the right-hand side is the typical Nasdaq listing guide for companies that wish to do that. And I've added a column with the orange LWLG on the right. And you can see from that column on the right, we meet the requirements for an organic uplist that is natural. And so our goal here is to uplist naturally. We want to build shareholder value through our higher quality, differentiated transformational, if you like, and higher performance EO polymer technology. And so as we do this, we can see there is a route to uplist naturally to the Nasdaq. And so in order to really progress the company, we have to have a very experienced management board. And you can see there are deep experiences, not only from the management and corporate operations, but also from technology. We have senior public company CTO level folks, Dr. Liam Berger, we've got Siraj El-Ahmadi. I mean, deep in terms of fiber optics, communications, modulators, system design. We have Dr. Miller, who was CTO of both Corning and DuPont at one point, really deep chemistry and understanding. And you need these types of folks to make sure that the company is progressing with the technology platform in the right direction to make it transformative. And in fact, we support this with a technical advisory board. And you can see from the folks on the technical advisory board, deep technical experience to make sure that our technology platform really hits all the major pain points of the customer base. And so as you can see, for example, just one of the folks here, Dr. So at the bottom of this slide, he's been a thought leader in commercializing polymer-based organic LEDs. And quite frankly, we look at organic LEDs every day with our curved televisions, and we see organic LED displays in our mobile phones. And that's polymer technology that's been commercialized over the last 20 years. And so we want to have folks that have the experience of taking polymer technology to a mass consumer commercialization scale. And we believe we have an advisory board to do this. And so being able to partner for success, we have a technology platform that is working to help scale the existing internet structure. We have enabling technology to do that. And that technology is based on electro-optic polymers. That technology is designed to transmit data at much higher speeds with much less power, which is absolutely essential for data communications and telecommunications markets. And as I've already indicated in this slide deck, we have an impact in automotive LiDAR. We have an impact in displays, in different types of computational, even crypto type scenarios. There are many applications that require light to be switched very quickly and very low power. We are leveraging internally engineered electro-optic polymers to create really high-speed photonic devices that convert that data from electrical signals to optical signals. And one way of really preparing ourselves to scale up for commercialization is working with multiple foundries, packaging partners, and module transceiver partners to position our company for future high-volume production. And this is the way we see to have maximum impact with our transformational technology. And of course, we have technology evaluation underway. But the takeaway from this slide is leveraging our partners to commercialize our uniqueness in our technology that is based in electro-optic polymers. And I'll finish there, and I'm not sure how much time I have left, but I'll stop the presentation and we can open the presentation for Q&A.
Okay, Michael, we have a couple of questions. One question is, would we ever consider selling to a larger institution, such as an Intel or Samsung or Verizon?
See, one of the things that when you have a technology platform that is transformative, that enables the internet to go faster, is to really focus on building the technology and building that company. And so our focus is making sure our technology performs and works just like we say it's going to do and has the impact. And I think if you can do a really good job of having an impact with your technology and building a solid company, not only from a technology standpoint, but from a fiscal standpoint, then I think there's going to be doors that open and opportunities that arise. But right now, we're focused on building that strong company.
The other question so that they understand you cannot talk about specific partnerships or transactions, but are there any in process? And any guidance that we have for the second half of 2021?
So the guidance we've given is that we are partnering and we are engaged with customers, and that process is ongoing. And I've indicated in this presentation, we have deeper commercial relationships. I mean, that's the guidance we've given so far, and that is progressing. And I think the big thing that folks have seen in the last few months is the explanation I gave at the annual shareholder meeting at the end of May, when I first talked about partnering with big silicon foundries and having our technology platform work with silicon photonics. As most people are probably aware, silicon photonics is a platform that has matured very quickly over the last few years. It looks like it's going to have a huge impact. And what we could do to silicon photonics is actually extend and increase that performance using our polymers. And so I think, given the guidance I've indicated publicly so far, I think that's the best way to sort of address that question right now.
Okay, Michael, we have another question. When do you predict you will have actually generate revenue?
So we have internal models where we are looking at our business plans. We haven't given any public guidance as of revenue as of yet. But certainly Jim and myself are working those models internally, and we update them. And at some point we probably will give some guidance, but we haven't given some right now, so I can't really get into that.
Okay. There's a question that says, can you please speak more about the Nasdaq uplisting and have you applied? I think I can probably answer that. We're universally working on uplisting. I cannot, tell you whether or not we've applied or not applied. It hasn't been made public, but we are going through the universal process of getting ourselves uplisted. And Michael put up a slide that shows you that we meet all the requirements. So that's a process we're trying to get done. And as Michael put on the slide, we're doing it organically. So Michael, that's all the questions we have.
Great. How are we doing for time?
Oh, wait a minute, I got a couple more just popped up. So I think that they asked have you applied for uplisting. If someone was to purchase your polymers, would they have to totally change their internet base? Not quite sure what they.
So that's probably a question saying, I mean, would the existing infrastructure, the internet, still be in place? And yes, absolutely. You're not going to tear out any fibers to put in our technology. Our technology will go into the transducers, sometimes called transceivers. These are the things, I call it a transducer because you're converting electrical signals into optical signals. These are the boxes that go into the data center type environments. And so you're not going to actually change the internet infrastructure. What you are going to do is, it's like having a hi-fi cable at home. You can just send data much faster and much lower power if you upgrade with our technology, but the existing infrastructure will still be there.
Okay, there's a question with regards to our stock price. What do you think caused the massive rise in our stock price, share price, pardon me?
So that's an interesting question. We've had that question many times, but if you go back and look some of my previous presentations, public announcements over the last 3 to 4 years, our message has not changed. Our message has been consistent, and that message of higher speed, lower power modulators is actually something that has not changed in 4 years. I can't tell you why the stock has changed because I'm not that type of an expert. But what I can say is over the last year, the industry has realized that higher speed optical devices working at lower power are absolutely critical for the internet. And so our message hasn't changed at all. And maybe, people have realized that, what we have here is transformational.
Thanks, Michael. There's another question regarding Nasdaq. So I would assume that Lightwave Logic needs to have actual sales or revenue. Is that true? The answer is no. With Nasdaq Capital Market, we qualify and meet the requirements without on the equity standard versus a revenue standard. Yeah, just a duplicate questions about Nasdaq. There was a question with regards to has the technology been verified by third parties?
So we haven't provided any guidance on our technology. We certainly reported stability, reliability results at a number of the technical conferences. I haven't gone into any details other than reporting the results at this point.
Okay. Can we speak about the shelf offering? Michael, I don't know if you want to take that or I can take it. It's up to you.
Why don't you take it, Jim?
Yeah, well, we put a universal shelf in place so we can position the company to take the company to the next level. And that universal shelf is good for 3 years. It's for $100 million. We currently have cash that take us through November of 2022. But we quite frankly would like to accelerate our commercialization, and that's why we put the shelf registration in place.
There are some questions on the chat. I don't know if you've seen them, Jim.
No, I haven't seen those. If you can pick up the chat, I didn't see the chat ones. Can you see those?
So one question here is your technology an important step towards 5G network? Well, 5G network is part of the telecommunications network. It's part of the internet. Now, as we know, 5G is wireless. And so, but the infrastructure to get to the antennas before the signals are sent wirelessly is actually fiber optic. And so if you look deeper into the 5G network itself, yes, there's a wireless element that connects to your mobile phones and your mobile devices, but there's a huge backhaul network of fiber optics that needs to be able to provide data to those antennas so that you can get the higher data rates to your mobile phone. So yes, it is important.
I'm not on the chat. I'm just looking at the question.
Oh, so I'm having a look here. There's another question. What does organically and naturally really mean in terms of an uplisting? It means that you're not going to do any reverse splits. It means you're just going to do a natural uplist just based on your current stock price. So you're not going to do any types of mechanisms of dilution in order to uplist. That's what organically or naturally means.
Yeah, and I think the other part of it, Michael, is that our stockholder equity numbers more than meet the requirements. Our stockholder equity has gone from 5.8 million at the end of 2020 to the 10Q that was just released yesterday of $16.9 million of shareholder equity, which more than exceeds what's needed to meet the requirements to uplist on the Nasdaq.
Thank you, Jim. I just want to check with the organizers. Are we nearly at a point where you're going to close the session?
It looks like we got one. Yes.
Yep. So thank you for your questions and thank you for your listening. As you can see, this is a really exciting technology, exciting times, and I wish everybody well.